Welcome to the Denver Gazette Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Schmedeke. Today, we're brought to you by Applewood Plumbing, Heating, and Electric. They have been serving Denver residents for 50 years. They are the proud sponsor of the Colorado Avalanche, who are tied 1-1 in their playoff series, and of this podcast. And we are going to talk about it's not deja vu. The Nuggets are once again up 2-0 on the Lakers, heading to LA after some just great wins in Denver. So I'm joined by Vinny Benedetto live from LA. Vinny, how are you?
Doing well. I am getting settled here in LA, getting ready for return trip to the crypto.
And I'm also with Tyler King, who has a what year finals hat is that you have on there?
98, the year I was born.
So that's Bulls Jazz.
Yes, Bulls
Jordan's
Jazz.
Jordan's last finals. So there you go. Good stuff there. All right, so let's talk about we're not going to dive into game one very much. Nuggets fell behind, never felt like they were out of the game, come back, win by double digits. We've all seen that script. We know how that goes. Game two, a little bit different. Lakers pretty much dominated from the opening tip. We're up 20 in the halfway through the third quarter, about
2 minutes in.
2 minutes in. So, but the Denver Nuggets do what the Denver Nuggets do. They come back with some great defense and some great shot making from Jamal Murray, who had an awful game up until then. But Jamal Murray hits a buzzer beater. Nuggets are up 2-0. Vinny, first thing, what was it like in that place?
Hectic. Well, hectic for me. It was generally pretty crazy for everybody else, I'm pretty sure. But I was, looking down at my clock on my laptop every 90 seconds to make sure I didn't blow our Colorado Springs deadline while the comeback was going on. And so it was like I had two stories going on at the same time. So I was scrambled all over the place. But the environment was pretty incredible, and like still going back and watching, like, I can't remember who it was on social media, but they like stitched together all of the cell phone videos from like different
Katie Wingy did that. She tweeted it out today. Yeah.
That like it's still a pretty cool watch, like 48 hours later, whatever it is.
So Tyler, you watched KJ Simpson's shot in the NCAA tournament from about kind of the same range. You want to rank them? Which one you got?
I don't know. They're both pretty incredible basketball games. Somehow, the NCAA game was more high scoring than the NBA game with the shot, because that was 102 to 100, and the Nuggets won 101 to 99 the other night. But yeah, I brought this up to Vinny during our post game video, kind of like an hour or two after the game, after we're both done writing, that it did give me KJ Simpson vibes, just kind of that same spot on the court. Shooting it. KJ didn't make it over a big or anything like that, his shot, but I probably Jamal's just because of it being in a home arena. I mean, that was an awesome environment at the NCAA tournament as well, but they're just, being in Indianapolis, there weren't a ton of Bucks fans there, just a couple dozen, it felt like, in the arena, and that place just absolutely exploded the other day. I mean, I don't know if I've really ever seen anything like that. It was pretty unique, and just kind of given the fact that Jamal had struggled so much leading up to he had two shots in the final minute, and it felt like that was kind of like all he did all game. Finally got two shots to go and get the Nuggets to win. So yeah, it was pretty incredible. But I feel really lucky to have been in person to see both those shots.
I was thinking a little bit of Kawhi as well back in his Toronto days. I mean, Jamal's shot went straight through. Like, it didn't touch the rim at all. Kawhi's did the bounce, but it was kind of similar. Like, Murray fell down and right there, and then Kawhi shot that over Embiid, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So I mean, that was similar. But let's talk about Jamal Murray a little bit, because Michael Malone mentioned it about how this is just kind of what Jamal Murray can do, where he's terrible for three quarters, Vinny, and then he just turns it on when it's needed.
Yeah, and like it was a different, like, game one, I thought he played like all right. Like, shots weren't falling, but he had 10 assists, no turnovers, got other people involved. Game two was just like the first three quarters were about as bad of a complete game as I've seen him play. Like, the shot selection was funky. I think he played a decently large role in D'Angelo Russell getting going. So like it was just bad on both ends for three quarters, and then like just about only Jamal Murray can do. He flips the switch and goes 6 for 8, I think, in the fourth quarter. And so if you're a Nuggets fan, I think you got to hope the days of him going 9 for 24 from the field are over, because if that happens again here in LA, it might get tough.
He was amazing in LA last year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was great out there. Tyler, do you think the LeBron block rattled him?
Well, that's a good question. I don't
That
know.
was a serious block.
Yeah, it really definitely was. I mean, there's been a decent amount of Laker fans at games 1 and 2, like there always are. I mean, in Denver, but that one got a pretty good reaction from the couple thousand Laker fans, or a couple hundred, I don't know how many it was, Laker fans in attendance. And yeah, LeBron had a couple of those like wow plays in that game. I mean, he had that dunk basically on Jamal after that bad Jamal turnover, with about like a minute 20 to go. I think that was something like that, right before the big MPJ 3-pointer to tie the game. So I mean, he did find his mojo late, but it is getting a little bit concerning for Jamal, considering how good he was last year in the postseason and how much they needed everything he had last season, last year. Like Vinny said, you just can't expect to win games on the road, especially if Jamal's going to continue to shoot like this, which I don't think anybody does expect him to continue to shoot 9 for 24 from the field. But when the Nuggets do eventually get past this series and move on, they're going to need the best version of Jamal to get past some of the other teams in the West, because I don't think they're going to be able to have the same advantage they do, and just kind of the same voodoo at this point that seems like they have against the Lakers, as they will maybe against the Wolves in the next round, or whoever they end up playing in the West Finals if they're able to get there. They're going to need Jamal to be Jamal that we saw last year in the postseason to get to that point and to keep advancing.
Your voodoo comment is funny, because I watched game 1 with my brothers, and we said they sweep them 12 in a row. That's a lot, but that doesn't seem that far fetched now.
Wouldn't it be 13? Would it be 13 at this point, or have they won 10 in a row now?
They have 10 in a row now.
Okay, I was confused. For some reason, I thought it was 9 going in.
But I mean, does a sweep seem, crazy now, Vinny? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I said it in our post-game video, but like, feels like the Lakers played, that was, pretty close to an A game in game 2 in Denver. Just look at the shooting, look at what they did to Jamal. Like, I'm sure they'd like to see Austin Reeves get going a bit more, but when you get 20 points plus from LeBron, AD, and D'Angelo Russell, like, it just feels like that was about as well as the Lakers you can expect them to play moving forward. And then, they cleaned up some of the post-game stuff today, in terms of the Anthony Davis comment that, there are stretches we don't know what we're doing on either end of the court.
Jamal Murray made a shot.
Yeah. So it doesn't feel like the Lakers are in a great place mentally. And, one thing I would have kept an eye out on is if Jared Vanderbilt was able to come back. He's a guy I think you could like throw at Jamal and say, hey, deal with this length. But he is again listed out for game 3. So I think that's another thing that works in the Nuggets' favor. And it does feel like a sweep is in play.
Tyler, let's talk about the shooting a little bit, because they are not shooting well from 3 in this series. They really haven't. But Michael Porter Jr. is probably the only reason they were even able to come back in that game on Monday night.
Yeah, I said this. I'm not sure if I said this on our post-game video, but I was saying it kind of privately that I think Michael Porter Jr. has been by far the Nuggets' second best player in the series. I mean, if you look at kind of like all any lineup stats, you're not going to find Jamal Murray near the top of any of them. If you're looking at 2-man, 3-man, even like 4-man lineups, like there's a lot of Aaron Gordon, a lot of MPJ, a lot of KCP mixed in there with Jokic. They've just gotten everything you could have asked for out of Mike after kind of a tough week that he had with his family last week. You really didn't know where his head was going to be mentally going in. And he's played 2 terrific games so far. And I do think he's one of the biggest reasons they're up 2-0, because if he's not shooting the ball the way they are, this series is likely 1-1 at this point. And I think, like you said, I mean, he had 6 of their 8 threes the other day. I think Jokic had 2. I mean, I think the rest of the guys not named MPJ and Jokic were 0 for 20 from 3, which you're not going to expect that to happen probably ever again the rest of the playoffs. But it was, I mean, in a game they won by 2 points. I mean, they needed everything Mike had. And that play, the game tying 3 that he had was just incredible. I mean, Jokic does his foul baiting thing, which he kind of whiffs on, and AG makes a great play to save it and just like finds Mike, and he just heaves one up in traffic and goes straight in. So, I mean, really heads up play from him. He also had 9 rebounds in the game. I think his defense has been really good too. You know, they don't ask him to do a ton defensively with AG also in the front court, but you know, his help defense I feel like has been pretty good. And I feel like he played a role in kind of slowing down Anthony Davis as well in the fourth quarter. We didn't really mention that, but I mean, Davis had like 32 points a couple minutes in the third quarter and then never didn't score again. I mean, he missed his first shot, then made 14 in a row, and then missed his last 4 shots. So I mean, the Nuggets' ability to kind of take him away in that fourth quarter was huge, because I mean, he was the best player on the floor, especially in the first half. And I do think Mike played a role in that. He's just been awesome so far in the series.
I'm just going to get to Aaron Gordon's defense, but I just realized we've talked for 10 minutes and I have not mentioned that Nikola Jokic won 27, 20, and 10. And so it's the 8th time in playoff history, Vinny, is that right? And he has 4 of them? Is that right?
That sounds right. I like it's gotten to the point where like Michael Malone always says don't get bored of success, or like don't take what he does for granted, but I think I've gotten there because like I'm 48 hours removed from witnessing a 27-20-10 game, and it's just like, yeah, okay.
Like Jamal Murray shot, it's just it is pretty crazy how, and he was cooking AD during that game too.
Yeah.
So, all right, so let's talk about it's funny because I don't know how many times on here we've just said Jokic is great. We know what he's going to do. We're just going to appreciate it and go with it. Aaron Gordon's defense on AD. Michael Malone makes the switch to put AD. Did it start in the fourth quarter pretty much?
No, real early in the third. So
okay.
Yeah,
the Lakers come out of halftime and they just put Joker in the pick and roll a couple times, and Anthony Davis gets back-to-back 3-point plays like 90 seconds into the third quarter, I think, and then he gets to 30 points.
That extended the lead to 20 right there too, early in that third quarter. Yeah.
And then I think Malone takes a timeout, makes the switch there, and he scores 2 points the rest of the way with Aaron Gordon being the primary defender there.
So, Tyler, do you think they do that in game 3, or do you think they worry about – because when Aaron Gordon got in foul trouble in game 1, it really seemed to screw everything up. So are they going to be worried about that and maybe not play that card to the second half? Or what do you think they do there?
I think they should move to that full time. I mean, you just really can't afford to get in a deep hole again. I feel like you're kind of playing with fire if you're letting Anthony Davis get hot again and the Lakers go up double digits again. I feel like you're playing with fire at some point. And I do think AG is your best option against Anthony Davis right now. I mean, Anthony Davis has been really physical, which has been really impressive, just like getting to his spots. And he's been super efficient, and he's not really taking low percentage shots, but he's just they're getting him in good spots, and he's just putting the ball in the basket. And when they did move to put AG on him, he was just making him a little bit more uncomfortable. And it felt like the Lakers offense just got really bogged down at that point. And maybe it won't be as effective as it was in the fourth quarter, but I mean, just any kind of slowing down of AG and not letting him get in the rhythm that he did in the first half of game 2, I think is beneficial because like I think we'll talk about, I mean, the Lakers just haven't been getting anything from anybody not named AD, LeBron, and Russell. Those guys had 81 of their 99 points in game 2. And even in game 1, it was pretty similar. And that was the game where Russell didn't even shoot that well. So the Lakers offense is going to be mostly run through LeBron, AD, and D'Angelo Russell, but you got to force the other guys to beat you at some point. I feel like, because Rui looks a little off in the series. Austin Reeves hasn't gotten going. I feel like he's a guy that can, but he just hasn't yet. So I feel like you just got to really limit AD's touches and force the other guys to beat you at this point.
So Tyler, you wrote an interesting story about the Lakers role players, and the Nuggets are getting 20-something points from Michael Porter. In game 1, AG almost had a triple-double. He was great in game 1 with foul trouble. If the Lakers have any chance of winning this series or even making it close, they have to get something from Rui and Reeves.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not like there isn't proof of that, because they both did it last year in the West Finals. I mean, I think Austin Reeves averaged over 21 points per game in the four games. He was shooting the ball really well. He was one of the guys I picked going in that Nuggets fans would be really annoyed with, just because you feel like he's a guy that can get hot at any time, and really catch fire in one game and hit 7 or 8 threes. And Rui had that really big game too, where he was just, I think he was like 8 for 10 from the field. He had 20 some points, and that was kind of the first game where he started guarding Jokic as well. So he was kind of doing it on both ends in that game. Like, there is proof of concept for these guys to get going. They just needed to happen in game 3, or else they might not come back to Denver, because I think that is their biggest key. Is finally getting contributions from those guys, and maybe something from anyone off the bench. I mean, they've only had 6 guys score in the entire series. Taurean Prince is the only guy off the bench that has scored in both games. Spencer Dinwiddie, the buff, has done absolutely nothing. Gabe Vincent can't get a shot to go. Jackson Hayes has only played a little bit. Like, they don't ask him to do a ton, because he's usually out there always with LeBron. So, but they got to get something from somebody other than D'Lo and LeBron and AD. Like, it's got to be Reeves and Hachimura, and maybe Vincent catches fire in one of these games and finally starts getting something to go, because the way they're playing right now is just not sustainable with how much their offense is revolving around just a couple guys.
We're going to talk about LeBron James here in a minute, but Vinny, since Tyler mentioned the Lakers bench, Nuggets bench, not great.
Not great, but I didn't think it was that bad either. Like, game 2, they did their
run at 10 points.
Yeah. And like, I'm not even looking at like individual statistics. Like, and when I talk about the bench, I mean whatever happens when Nikola Jokic is not on the court.
Right.
And like, that group did its job, because it doesn't feel like the lead or the deficit grew at all while they were out. Like, they hung in there. So I mean, individually, yeah, you'd like to see some better performances from guys like, I hate to say it about our Colorado Springs guy, but like, some of the Reggie Jackson shots were tough ones. Put it like that.
Not a good 9 minutes.
Not a good 9 minutes from my guy Reggie. But like, Christian, I think, has been like really pretty solid in both these games, and that's for a guy who this matchup was not kind to him last year. Like, he kind of got removed from the rotation in that series last year, and he's come back and has I think played really pretty well in both games 1 and 2. And I think one guy who's going to be interesting out here, I guess, well, 2, Peyton Watson and Justin Holiday are both kind of LA guys. So coming back home to play the Lakers in front of, I'm sure, a bunch of friends and family has got to be a pretty cool, but maybe kind of intimidating moment for probably more so Peyton, given that he's younger and this is his first real playoff experience. But so I think Peyton Watson's will be an interesting guy to watch out here in LA.
All right, let's talk about LeBron, because we got to talk about LeBron. Let's go with the actual game part first. He was great. He does seem to run out of steam through the games, but he did hit, because it got to, what was it, 83, 81, and then he hit those back-to-back threes, right?
Yep. And got back to 8 real quick.
And got right back to 8, and then I don't know how much more open he could be on that 3 that he missed. Yep. Tyler, did you think that was going in? I did.
I thought it was going in. I mean, he has looked really gassed at times. Like, he subbed himself out of the game in game 2. And, in game 1, he actually refused to come out of the game. So he's kind of dictating his own rotations, his own minutes at this point. So however many minutes he plays, I mean, I was stunned none of the Lakers starters played over 40 minutes in game 2. Like, Austin Reeves only played 33 minutes. I was like, that was just like, Gabe Vincent played 15. I was like, he clearly didn't have it. Like, so I don't want to get into the Darvin Ham stuff on this podcast. We'll save that for the Lakers people. They can talk about that all they want. But yeah, I mean, LeBron, it seems like he's really trying to find times to just refuel energy-wise during the games to give it a last push, because he was really good in the fourth quarter. I think he had like 12 or 16 points or something like that. He had double-digit points in the fourth quarter. And I did think that last shot was going in. I mean, after the way he stole that ball and then dunked it in transition, I was like, I felt like this was going to be one of those vintage LeBron moments, but it just rimmed out. And then he was very unhappy walking off the floor, and then had some choice words for the poor people in the NBA replay center. I was at the press conference when he was going off about that. I was just like, well, okay, this is getting crazy.
You know what's ridiculous about that is that play was in the third quarter, right? that he's all
Yeah.
fired up about with D'Lo. I mean, D'Lo
Yeah.
really got hit in the face. The Nuggets challenge. I don't know how they won that challenge. I don't know how that.
I have no idea how they won that one.
But they won 2 challenges like in that third quarter, didn't they? Like kind of.
The first one was real early, I think. First challenge, I think, was first half sometime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was the first half, and then in the third quarter, like Malone burned both his challenges before the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Well, they had to do something, but so yeah, like you said, LeBron had some comments about the officials and the replay center. So Vinny, are we headed to? So Scott Foster ref this game too.
Yep.
We got to have Tony Brothers tomorrow, right?
I mean, that feels appropriate. Or I mean, maybe it doesn't feel appropriate, but it feels like something that'll probably happen. Yeah, as the pool reporter for game 2, I was pretty shocked when I didn't get any requests to talk to Scott after that game from our Lakers media contingent. But yeah, tomorrow night is going to be one to watch in terms of the Lakers did not handle being on the wrong side of the free throw discrepancy very well. It's not something that happens to them very often. So it'll be interesting to see how the Nuggets are able to kind of tiptoe around. You don't want to just give them layups, or you got to play physically defensively.
Yeah.
But like, if it's a tight whistle early, it might get interesting.
So going into tomorrow night's game, Thursday night, 8 p.m. starts, which means 8:15. We all know that. And but you talked about the early whistle. And Tyler, I kind of think that this could be like game 4 last year where LeBron just shoots every time.
Yeah, it really could be. I mean, it feels like desperation time for the Lakers. You said it's not deja vu at the top of the podcast, but I mean, it just kind of feels exactly this kind of feels exactly the same. Like, and it's kind of the thing I wrote about today too in my story of like, well, the Lakers are down 0-2 again, and they're saying the same things they were last year about confidence and getting a chance to go play on their home floor and liking the way they were playing, blah blah blah, all that stuff. It just feels like we're in the same spot where I just don't know how after game 2 they mentally recover from that. I mean, it is LeBron. It's year 21. He's seen everything possible in the playoffs, but I do think they're going to play with a ton of desperation in game 3, kind of knowing that this is the last chance. Maybe LeBron feels in just his career, just that is his last. Obviously, I don't think he's going to retire after this year or whatever, but I just feel like they are a pretty good team this year. Like, I do feel like this could have been a Western Conference Finals matchup if the bracket broke differently. But they are a talented team, but it just feels like they have to win game 3 if they want to have any shot of keeping the series going, just because we all saw what happened last year. I mean, it just feels like there is no lead the Lakers can get out to the Nuggets can't overcome. I mean, maybe the Lakers should go down by 10 in game 3 and maybe try to make a comeback that way. Maybe that's their route to victory, but they're going to come out playing pretty desperate, I feel like.
But Vinny, I was going to say, like, the Nuggets have not come out fast in either of these games.
Oh no, like, and like 2 very different starts. If I remember correctly, they gave up 33 points in the first quarter of game 1.
Yeah, sounds right.
And then game 2, like, I think they had 22 after the first quarter, and Joker had 10 of those.
Yes. He had a double-double in the first quarter, didn't he?
He did.
He did. Yeah, he's 12 and 10.
And so, yeah, I think that's the most important thing for Denver is to find a way to just get off to a better start. And because if they fall behind by double figures out here in LA, like, it's a much more uphill climb to get back in that game than it would be at home. So if they can get off to a hot start tomorrow night, like, I think it's important you land that first punch, you get the Lakers questioning their ability to win a game in this series, and just see if you can kind of punk them a little bit early.
This isn't a Boston podcast, but as we are recording this, we're watching Heat Celtics. It looks like the Heat are going to beat the Celtics and Boston in game 2 without Jimmy Butler. We're talking about the Lakers demons with the Nuggets. Celtics demons with the Heat could be just as bad.
It's getting there at this point.
It's getting pretty scary. All right, let's do predictions for game 3. Vinny, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Nuggets get off to a hot start. Maybe they go up by 10 and just hold on at the end. Go Nuggets win a close one.
I think the Lakers will get one. I did say I'm going to stick with my Nuggets in 5 prediction from the series, and I think this will. I think going into the series, I thought Game 3 would be the game the Lakers should get, so I'll stick with that. I think the Lakers will get one. Start feeling good, but then the Nuggets will rip their hearts out again in Game 4. So I'll take the Lakers, maybe by 7 or 8. It'll be a close game throughout. Late free throws, Lakers will pull away.
I think the Nuggets win tomorrow as well, but I do think they lose Saturday. And then I kind of thought that's how the Western Conference Finals were going to go too, especially when LeBron went 12 for 12 or whatever it was in the first half. And then they ended up winning that game. So I think that's what's going to happen. And then they close it out at home. Maybe that Game 5 is finally like the Nuggets' complete home game that they haven't had yet in these playoffs. Before we go, anything really catch your eye in the playoffs so far? We just talked about Heat Celtics, but anything else, Vinny?
How about those Cleveland Cavaliers? They are not being bothered by Orlando's frisky defense. So, just need Donovan Mitchell to sign that extension, and everything's gravy.
Tyler?
I feel vindicated picking the Timberwolves. That's my takeaway from the first 2 games of both these series of the West playoffs. I did not believe the Suns' hype going in. Despite the fact that they were 3-0 against Minnesota in the regular season, I still picked Minnesota in the series because I think Minnesota is a really, really good team, and I think it's going to be. I really want to watch the Nuggets and Minnesota in round 2 because I think it'll be a fascinating series. And yeah, like I said, I picked Minnesota, and I feel vindicated based off of the performances they've had kind of in the first 2 games. Anthony Edwards is awesome, probably my favorite player to watch in the league in the non-Nikola Jokic division. I mean, he's just so fun. And I would be grateful to watch another series, another 7 games, 5, 6, 7 games of him against the Nuggets in the playoffs. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was going to go with how bad the Suns look because I feel like, both of those games, like they look good for me like a half, and then they just do not look good after that. I'm going to go with the Mavs bouncing back and kind of giving it to they beat the Clippers close last night. They were the first road team to win before the Heat are winning tonight. So I still think Dallas is dangerous. I still think if, OKC, we're taping before OKC plays New Orleans tonight. That was the best game of the weekend. I think OKC is going to probably maybe get 6 games out of that series. Maybe. I think New Orleans will probably push them. You don't think so, Vinny?
No. Yeah, that's
okay. I didn't think
six feels right. It's just like Jonas Valanciunas is a good guy to exploit the Thunder's lack of strength inside.
But then they took him out and he didn't play like at the end of the game.
Yeah. But didn't he have like 20 rebounds? Like
he had
9 defensive rebounds? Like I was working while I was watching, but it just felt like anytime the Pelicans missed a shot, like Jonas was just like moving Chet out of the way for an offensive rebound. So I would play him.
All right. Well, make sure to go to denvergazette.com to see Vinny's coverage from LA. Quick sports switch. Tyler, you will be at the spring game over in CU Buffs this weekend. Anything quick you want to mention there?
Lil Wayne has a concert. That's gonna be fun.
Do we have any idea who's playing for the Buffs anymore? I don't even.
There's gonna be some players out there. That's for sure.
Shedor's still there. We got that.
Yeah, Travis Hunter's still there. No, I mean they've lost some 15-ish guys in this latest window so far. I don't expect any more. I mean, only one really unsurprising one to me, and they've already kind of added some guys, and they will continue to do so. As they will in every transfer window under Deion Sanders, which might be the last one. Who knows? We'll see.
Are you buying the Dallas hype? Are you buying Deion?
I'm buying the fact that I don't believe he's going to coach a team, especially at Colorado, that doesn't include any of his sons. That's what I'm buying.
All right. Are they getting that running back from Ohio State? Has that beccome official?
They did, yeah.
They did got him. Okay. So that's Saturday.
They're not going to run the ball anyway, so don't worry about it. They're going to throw the ball every play.
Shermer loves the run. Okay, now I'm going to go off on a tangent there. We don't need to go there. We all know. I still don't understand the Pat Shermer hire. I had at the beginning.
Pat Shermer will do what he's told, which is to throw the ball a lot.
All right. So make sure you check out that coverage over the weekend from Tyler. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast on Apple or on Spotify. And guys, we'll probably catch up after the games in LA, and we'll see where the Nuggets stand. We'll talk to you then.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Chris.